All right, I am due for a video. Yeah, this past week my bookshelf came crashing down. Well, I noticed when I looked at the planks, they were kind of like separating from the boards that have the books on them. So I went over to the bookshelf and I tried to use my foot to shove the board back in. It was like I could see the nail. It was like it was only being held, and then the whole bookshelf came crashing down like a house of cards. And I got me it looks a lot better than it did. I got me a first class bruise. It looks a lot better than it did a couple days ago. But oh man, yeah, I had to wear gauze over the cut. I'm lucky that it wasn't worse. I could have been in stitches. The whole 60-inch high bookshelf just came crashing down. It broke into pieces and my books scattered everywhere. Some of them got a little damaged. And I live in HUD housing, right? So I had inspection in 2 days after this happened. Oh my God. So that ruined my evening, and I had to clean up the pieces, and I put them in garbage bags and brought them all down to the dumpster. And that was like yeah, that was almost a week ago. What I've done right now is lined all the books up on the floor. See them right over there? Very neat. And that's working for me. One of my supporters was telling me that isn't that a violation of the Gail commandment? Yeah, well, I think that Gail commandment, which says that there should be no storage items and stuff on the floor, is referring to like in the middle of the floor. If my bookshelf comes crashing down, obviously I don't have a bookshelf to put the books on. The other option I thought of was I looked through the books and I said, are there any here that you want to get rid of? I've already pared my books down pretty good. In fact, if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't be able to fit them all right there along the floor. I've come up with a really good system there, and it's working real good for me. Yeah, I also have some books near the head of my bed, but they're not in an area where they're, and actually with the bookshelf down, the place looks bigger because I do live in a studio. So for now, I do believe the automatons and the Genghis Khan Nazis, they may have used brain control on me to try to get me to fix the bookshelf, but the panels holding the books were warping because I have high humidity in this apartment, and I could be wrong, but I think that bookshelf was going to crash eventually. Yeah, it was just warping everywhere, and so I just don't have one. And I'm not worried about it. I think they wanted their goal obviously is to get the Gail shield to go down. My men have not. My decision apparently to put the books up against the wall apparently has not caused the Gail shield to go down. I think my men would. I mean, what can I do, right? I mean, the bookshelf came crashing down. It was damaged beyond repair. Believe me, it would have been dangerous for me to try to use it. Okay. And maybe the next time it came crashing down, I would get stitches. So, yeah, I had to throw it all out. And so I'm doing without a bookshelf. And I'm kind of nervous, actually, about having a bookshelf right now after what happened to me. I live in a high humidity area, okay? Probably the only bookshelf that would work for me would be one made of solid wood. I do not have a car. And that would be heavy, too. So the only way I could bring it into the apartment would be with a car, and I'd probably even have to hire people to bring it in, and I'm just not going to worry about it. It's actually easier for me to find the books the way they are right now. Yeah. It's working out good for me. My website got back up. Zach Knight was able to get my website back up for a time there. But starting, I think it was yesterday, now when you go to my website, there's a message there saying if you go into this website, you could have your private information stolen. So I'm just going to write, I don't know what happened. I'm hearing brain to brain that maybe the automatons and the Genghis Khan Nazis, maybe they hacked into it again, or they could be using cloned versions of the internet, where they created their own. I mean, these automatons used to manage my website, okay? So they know the website. And besides, they are computers. So anything related to computers, they're probably going to be really good at. So I don't know if we're going to be able to beat them with this thing. So I've kind of given up on my website. I'm not going to risk getting my information stolen, getting on there, seeing that warning. And I'm going to recommend that for you guys too. Apparently, to get the latest news, Zach Knight, I know, has created another website for Gabriel Chana Fox News. And if you go to 00 on cable, and he probably sending you guys emails to let you know where it is. So if my website goes down, or if it's been hacked or whatever, and it's not safe for people to go there, then just go to 00 on cable or whatever website you have access to and get your information from there. You can also get information from this YouTube channel. Fortunately, I did start a little bit of a backup of my website just to help me with the Gail series, which I'm going gung-ho on. I just finished a story called Vladimir Putin Part 1, which was basically about the beginnings of my relationship with Vladimir Putin in 2002. And that's probably in production right now with Steven Spielberg and my husband, Brent Spiner, who are the producers. Yeah, this is a personal project for me. I'm really understanding why Jesus wanted me to write the Gail series. And I'm understanding why Satan is trying to stop it. Well, the Bible's been canceled, and Jesus needs a guidebook for his followers so that they know how to live righteous lives now under a kind of like a, I guess you might say, a new system, because the Bible's been canceled. The Bible is an accurate history book, okay? But none of those prophecies in the Bible are going to be fulfilled, okay? Because God the Father canceled the Bible, and I don't think Jesus would want us obsessing about the future, like what's going to happen anyways. That usually gets you into trouble. Yeah. And he did assign Buddha and Brent to be in his place, and Buddha says one of the best ways to avoid obsessions is to go out and explore new places and don't think about the future, don't think about the past, just focus on the present and enjoying the present moment. So apparently Jesus is aware that that his Christian followers tended to focus too much on the future, and it got them into trouble. Yeah, they got like obsessions with Bible prophecy and all this stuff, and he doesn't want that. I think he just wants us to live joyfully in the moment and to be living testaments of true and free love. So yeah, I think one of the reasons he wants me to write the Gail series is because I and my men are actually living testaments of true and free love working together. And if I can capture my story in book form, it's going to be more permanent than a website. We are learning that website is not a very permanent way to store history. It is easily erased. And and I'm not sure about this, but I think at the rate I've been healing from my wounds from when the bookcase came crashing down on my leg, I don't seem to have all my Antichrist powers, because usually an Antichrist heals very quickly from their injuries. So I'm wondering if Genghis Khan could be the Antichrist. I don't know. To be honest with you, I'm not going to obsess over whether I'm the Antichrist or not. I just know that I cannot side with Satan. He and I are not in agreement in a lot of areas. I think I would rather be permanently exterminated than live in hell or reign over hell, especially if I can't have my Brent. I have true love with my husband, Brent Spiner. And Satan, and nobody's going to try to convince me otherwise. Okay? And if he tries to get me to, if he insists that that the only way I can reign in hell with him is I have to be separated from my husband, I would rather be permanently exterminated. Yeah. I am against a lot of this. I'm against rape, and I am against brain control. And he practices both. I support true love in all its forms. That's why I made a video respectfully requesting that nobody address me as Antichrist. Yeah. Yeah, so I want to get the Gail series out. I want people to know my story and my men's story. This is personal to me now, which means I'm doing a better job. I just finished Vladimir Putin Part 1. Writing is a lot of work. I learned a lot of my writing skills from Jim Murphy. He was my writing instructor through the Institute of Children's Literature from 1991 to 1993. He has gone on. Many of the people that were very significant in my life have gone on. I'm just thinking, my mother went on in 2022. My stepfather, who was very significant in my life, went on in 2014. There was a doctor who delivered my son in 1987. The Jesuits murdered him around 1989, right after I left Michigan. I talk about all this in my story. My Aunt Bertille, who was a sweet lady, my paternal aunt, the Jesuits murdered her on December 30th, 2002. So she died in her 70s. I believe my father is still alive, and he's in his 90s. Isn't that amazing? So he's outlived my mother. Actually, my mother transitioned because Buddha it was almost like he raptured her. So yeah, I have a very important life. Brent and I epitomize Jesus Christ's ideals. I believe that is why he wants me to write the Gail series. We stand for the same things he does. You might say, well, how could his father say that you are the most evil Antichrist of all time? Well, if I had not recanted my decision, okay, and tried to be the sage guru, I probably would have been the most evil Antichrist of all times. And the Gail Shield really went down. But apparently Jesus has faith that I'm going to learn from my mistakes, get back up, and get on the right path. Yeah. I just cannot agree with Satan. I don't know what Satan's problem is, okay? Or these Genghis Khan Nazis. I don't understand why they have to have rape and brain control, and why they have to be against true love. I don't understand that. Yeah, I think it's really sad. You might say, well, you haven't always been for true love. Of course. I have been a first-class sinner at times, but I'm not proud of it. And I don't gloat in it like Satan does. Now, I actually thanked him when he made me aware that God the Father said that I was the most evil Antichrist of all time. And I said, thank you. I don't want to make Jesus unhappy. He says, you mean you don't want to be the most evil Antichrist? I said, no. I said, I appreciate you letting me know what I was doing wrong. He said, oh. He said, oh. And then I said, you know what? I love you, Satan. I think you're going to get right someday. And he said, oh, I got to go. And then, about a week later, he raped me. And that was the last straw. I said, forget it. I don't care about being Antichrist anymore. He can kill me. I said, and then he wouldn't let Brent in the apartment, and he impregnated me with thousands of double babies. So I said, forget it. I started shooting lightning bolts at him. Anyways, you guys, yeah, this has been an interesting week. I can tell they are trying to make the Gail Shield go down. Right now, that is our strongest protection. And my number one priority is to make sure it stays strong. So I've given up on my website. I basically, once they took it down by hacking into it about a month ago, I haven't been working on it. So if they got into it again, it's no big loss. I've pretty much gotten from that website everything that I need to write the Gail series. So my new passion right now, I figure if I stay busy doing what I should be doing, which is working on the Gail series, doing the Gail commandments like making this YouTube video, it will help me to stay out of trouble by doing things I should not be doing, which causes the Gail shield to go down. So that's my present strategy for staying out of trouble. Because if this Gail shield goes down, I am afraid if it goes down one more time, like down to 0 or 5%, that if Genghis Khan is the new Antichrist, that's what they're waiting for. And then they're going to hit me with a catastrophic hit that I'm not going to be able to recover from. So I'm determined to keep it up. You guys can probably help me out. Make sure you're doing all the Gail commandments. And go out and explore new places, meditate, live present and in the moment, and enjoy my Gail series. Yeah, it's going to take me a while to write all the stories because a lot of things have happened to me and my men. But I am committed to this. I just finished one, and then I finished Millennial Gail about 2 weeks ago. So about every 2 weeks I'm getting one done, and I'm almost done with another one called Gail's Men Going Their Own Way. But the older stories take a little longer because I have to go back and research because I didn't have the computer in 2002. And I had a handwritten journal, so I have to go back and leaf through my handwritten journal and make some corrections to remember. But what I try to do with each story is think about this. Okay, in order to choose the stories, I try to pick events that that had a significant impact on me and my men, that basically determined who we were and that may have changed the course of history. I feel like those are the stories I need to write. And then as I write them, I try to make it like a photograph of what was in our hearts and minds and the events we went through. It's like Buddha said, that's the way I should approach it. This way it'll be most helpful to Jesus. He lost his Bible. So he needs something for his followers to know how to be righteous under his new plan. Yeah. And apparently he feels that if people follow the example of me and my men, that it will be the way forward. He apparently has faith in me that I will learn from my mistakes and end up going on the right path. So I finished the story. I'm recommending right now that people avoid the website until that message is removed from the site. Like when you go there now, you're going to see something that says it's dangerous to go to the site. You could get your password stolen. Just don't go there. I don't want to see any of you get hacked. I don't know what these automatons have done. Like I said, we're dealing with Satan who invented the computer, and automatons are walking computers, so yeah. It's probably, they're going to be hard to defeat in anything that has to do with computer technology. And like I said, they manage. Now, Zach Knight's got like a PhD in computers, and he manages the site, but he's up against Satan himself, who invented the computer, and automatons who are walking computers with IQs in the millions. So I think Jesus knew that we were going to have problems with with my website, which may be one of the reasons he wanted me to write the Gail series. He knew Genghis Khan is apparently trying to erase history. And a lot of evil rulers, when they take over a country or the world, to legitimize their rule, they will often try to paint the ones conquered in a bad light. In order to do that, he's got to get rid of history. And also, Satan, I've noticed, is the same way. He's a big liar. So to make up for the fact that it's not safe to go on my website now, I am still making sure I do these YouTube videos. and I am writing the Gail series. As far as making audiobooks of the Gail series, I think I've gotten the most important ones out right now on audio. But right now my priority is to get the Gail series stories out as quickly as I can, but still not compromising writing quality. So I did finish one, a very important story. It's important for people to know why I kind of abandoned Brent Spiner right after 9/11. It's not that I am a whore, okay? I was fighting for my life back then. My story says it all, okay? Yeah. I also, my life story is a little complicated because I've had a bit of an inferiority complex my whole life, and as a result of that, I tend to let other people define me. And I play different roles to try to make them like me. And that's gotten me into trouble. So yeah, my Gail series stories go into that as well. Anyways, you guys, I am due to make a YouTube video. So the main crises I had to deal with this week was losing my bookshelf and getting injured. But it hasn't stopped me from going out on my walks. I'm still able to do that. I'm still able to do all the Gail commandments. And as far as my website being hacked into and bought, and it not safe for me to get into it or not being able to get into it, that isn't stopping me from working on the Gail series. Yeah, I can go on. You know, I feel kind of like I was back in the 1990s when I was working on the novel Silver Skies. I did not have a website back then, even though I did have a computer. And my focus was on writing. I wanted everyone to know about the amazing love that I had with Brent Spiner. Long distance, a secret love affair, basically. So I wrote the novel Silver Skies, and I was really dedicated to it. And I did such a good job that Steven Spielberg made a movie out of it, with Matthew McConaughey as the star. When when a writing project becomes personal to me, I can do a really good job. For a while, I was having trouble for this to be personal, but when the website went down, and I realized that with it down, my story could be lost, and the amazing story of me and my men and the adventures we went through, that's when the Gail series became a personal project for me. It's ironic with me that sometimes my enemies will do something to destroy me, and they only make me stronger. And that's what I think is happening. Anyways, you guys, let me get going. I have to do some cooking. And basically, I don't have time to work on that website anyways. Between doing the Gail commandments, working on my cooking, and working on the Gail series, my day is packed. I barely have time to do that.
In a world of secrets, where darkness reigns, there's a warrior rising, breaking free from chains. She's Gail Schuler, her heart pure and strong, with the power of love, she'll right the world's wrongs. Yeah! She's the first, a passionate crusader. Stand by the side of conquer it all. Through space battles and trials,